Hello, brothers and sisters. Have a blessed Sunday. Today we read in the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 18, verse 21 to 35. Then Peter came up and said to him, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? As many as 7 times? Jesus said to him, I do not say to you 7 times, but 70 times 7. Therefore the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who wished to settle accounts with his servants. When he began to reckon the reckoning, one was brought to him who owed him 10,000 talents. And as he could not pay, his lord ordered him to be sold, with his wife and children and all that he had, and payment to be made. So the servant fell on his knees, imploring him, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay you everything. And out of pity for him, the lord of that servant released him and forgave him the debt. But that same servant, as he went out, came upon one of his fellow servants, who owed him 100 denarii, and seizing him by the throat, he said, Pay what you owe. So his fellow servant fell down and besought him, Have patience with me, and I will pay you. He refused and went and put him in prison till he should pay the debt. When his fellow servants saw what had taken place, they were greatly distressed, and they went and reported to their lord all that had taken place. Then his lord summoned him and said to him, You wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt because you besought me. And should not you have had mercy on your fellow servant, as I had mercy on you? And in anger his lord delivered him to the jailers, till he should pay all his debt. So also my heavenly Father will do to every one of you, if you do not forgive your brother from your heart. It's a famous story that we know well, and maybe one of the first things that we notice is that there is one Father. There is one Lord here. The first servant is a fellow servant of the other. So the second is also a servant of the same Lord. And these servants who are going to report after they are distressed, they are also the servants of the same Lord. These verses of the chapter 18 are at the end of the great speech of Jesus about the church, about living as a community of disciples. And there is one community, there is one church, because there is one Father. Only one, and that's what makes the unity, and that's what leads us to understand what is forgiveness. We forgive because we have just one Father, the same one. When someone sinned against me, when we argue, when there is a conflict, we should always remember that there is one Father. And the servant who did not want to forgive the other's debt maybe forgot that his fellow servant was a servant of the same master who forgave his debt. It's very important because when the relationship with someone is affected or is damaged because of a conflict or a sin, and sometimes it can be really badly damaged, and we are not minimizing the sin, but we remember that there is a relationship which is not damaged. It's the love that the Father has for each one of us, each one of the servants. The Lord was good for the first servant as he was good for the second one. But the Lord could not forgive and could not continue this goodness when the other one refused to be a channel for his fellow servant, a channel of grace and forgiveness. Indeed, we see that the first servant, the one who was forgiven the huge amount, was supposed to be like a mediator because he stands in a way in the middle between his Lord and his fellow servant. When he was asked to forgive the little amount by his fellow servant, he would have shared in a way the goodness of his Lord. if he would be able to say, yeah, it's okay, I already have a lot of money, I don't have to pay all this amount of money, no, so I can share. He would have given something that he received from his master, in a way. And so to forgive is always to stand in the middle between God and my brother and my sister. It's to be a mediator of the grace, of the kindness, the generosity we received from the Father in heaven. And this generosity is without measure. Let us remember that this amount, 10,000 talents, is a fortune that nobody on earth could even possess at the time of Jesus. Even the King Herod was earning a few hundreds of talents every year. So 10,000 talents, it's an amount which is absolutely incredible. So nobody can even own that. So how much nobody can pay that as a debt, and nobody can forgive such an amount of a debt except the Father in heaven, who is generous without measure. Let us try to ask the Lord to see in our life when we can, where and how we can be mediator, instrument of His generosity and grace when we forgive to one another. Have a blessed Sunday and a blessed week, everyone.